Hello everyone, welcome to the Python lecture, and in this lecture we are going to understand what is the meaning of string formatting in Python. String formatting, all the time you all are going to use because whenever you will do a real-time programming, you will end up doing a lots of string manipulation and string formatting. So let's try to understand what is the meaning of string formatting. I'll try to explain each and everything with a practical example, no theory, nothing, because theoretical example again converts into a practical one. This is what I always try to perform. And just make sure that whatever I'm trying to teach, try to type it first of all in your system. Unless and until you are not typing it, obviously you will feel like you are able to understand the concept, but you are not. Whenever it will come to an implementation, you will feel some sort of a pain over there. So please try to type each and everything in your system. That is very much important, guys, believe me. So let's try to start with a string formatting. What is the meaning of string formatting, how I can try to perform a string formatting, and all sort of example. So let's suppose here I'm going to write name is equals to SUDH. Okay, name is equals to SUDH. Then again I'm going to create one variable called as text over here, and then I'm trying to say hello, right? Hello. And maybe I can try to write hello SUDH over here, as you can see. So there is a variable called as name SUDH, and then I'm trying to say that hello SUDH. But maybe I would like to convert this one into maybe in a way where it should take this SUDH value from this variable, because I already have this value into this particular variable. Or maybe I can try to take some sort of a user input. That is also possible, right? So here, if I have to replace this SUDH with this dynamic one, with this name variable, how I will be able to do it? And this is where string formatting comes into a picture, so that I can format a string. Simple, right? Okay, so let's try to understand how I can do it. Again, I'll try to create a variable. So let me delete it. Okay, so here what I will do is I'll try to create a name variable which is called as SUDH. That's completely fine. Then I can try to create one variable called as text over here. I can write HELLO. Now instead of giving a hard coded value, because this is the hard coded value, I would like to give a dynamic value, right? So that in a real time, in a runtime, it will be able to take a data from this variable, from this particular variable. So how I can do that? So it's very simple. You have to write a percentile or percentile over here and percentile of S. So I'm just trying to create what I'm trying to create a placeholder over here, so that it will be able to replace this value in a runtime. And then value of this placeholder I'm going to define in this way. So name. So here, as you can see, percentile of S means it will be expecting a string. Simple. It will be expecting what? A string over here. This is the meaning of percentile of S. And then here I'm trying to say percentile of name. Name is what? Name is this particular variable. So in a real time, in a runtime, it will try to take a data from this variable. Let me print text now. So here you will be able to find out that it is printing hello SUDH. Now from where it is able to get this SUDH value? From here it is able to get a SUDH value, and name is holding this SUDH value. Now let's try to understand in a different way. I would like to make it more dynamic, means I would like to relate these things with the user input. So here what I can do is I can try to write input, okay, and then I can say that enter your name. Now in a real time, what will happen is it will ask you to enter your name. Now whatever name you are going to enter, it will just replace this placeholder with this particular variable as per the statement. So execute and SUDH NSHU. And now if I'm going to print text over here, as you can see, in a real time, it is changing this value of this variable or this particular placeholder. So this is something called as string formatting. There are multiple ways by which I can do a string formatting. So let's try to understand one by one. I'll try to give you one more example. So here, let's suppose instead of name, I'm going to consider age, right? And here it is asking you for age. Let's suppose age, execute, and then let's suppose age is equal to 30 if I'm going to mention. So text, and then it will be able to give you, so let me execute this part. So this is 30 and I have entered age is equals to 30 over here. Now let's try to print text. So text, it is, sorry, I have to replace here as well. So 30, and here hello 30, right? Hello 30, it is trying to print. Now, as of now, I'm trying to take input as a string, because we all know that input by default is going to take input as a string. Now, I'll try to convert this one into an integer. I'll try to convert this one into a integer. I'm not making any kind of a changes in this one. Now let's try to understand whether it is going to work or not. I believe it is not going to work. It is going to give me some sort of an error, but still I'll give a try. So here I'm going to write 30, and if I'm going to print text, so hello 30, it is able to take. So here, right here, you will be able to find out that even though if I'm giving a percentile of s, it is going to take this particular value. Now, purposely, if you have to take a integer value, so in that case we try to write d over here. D means it's a integer that we are trying to denote. Now let's try to execute once again, and then enter, and then enter. So here again it is trying to give me the same outcome, but with the help of percentile of d, in general we try to denote what? We try to denote the age part, and it is going to consider integer in that particular situation. It will be expecting, so percentile of d is nothing but it's a placeholder for an integer. This is one of the other example. Now let's suppose if I'm going to keep float over here, maybe float, and here I'm going to write height, and here let's suppose I'm going to write height in this particular place. Execute. Now here height is equals to something like this in a floating point number I'm going to mention. So because of integer, it is going to give me this issue float float. So here execute, and something float I'm going to enter, and it is working well for me. If I'm going to print text, so it is going to print what? 324. What I have entered? 324.56. But what it is trying to represent? It is trying to represent 324. Why? Because of this placeholder. This placeholder is a representation of what? This placeholder is a representation of integer. So it is chopping off all the floating point or all the decimal values. Now let's suppose, I'll try to show you in a different way now. So let's suppose if I'm going to change it to s. Now let's try to think. So here 345.56. Okay, fine. Execute and execute. If I'm keeping a string, so yes, it is able to convert everything into a string, right? But if I'm keeping a d over here, it is not working. Now, if I have to consider a proper floating point, so in that case, what I can do is I can write maybe 0.2f. I'll explain you the meaning of it. Just wait for some time. 345.56. Execute. Execute. So here you can see that 345.56 it is able to take. Again, I'll try to execute, and 345.5656565656, right? So many 56565656 I have given after a dot. Now let's try to execute. You will see something different. See, I have entered 345.56565656 so many times. Are we able to get it? I believe no. Because of what? So here f, small f is nothing but it's a representation of floating point number. But here I have given 0.2. What is the meaning of 0.2? Meaning of 0.2 is very simple. After decimal, you are supposed to take only 2 integer. That's it. This is the meaning of 0.2. Means after decimal, you are supposed to provide only 2 places where data will be available. This is the meaning of 0.2f. Now, instead of 0.2, maybe I can make it 0.4, and then I can try to execute it. So 345.5656565656, execute, and then execute. As you can see, I have given 0.4, so it is giving me a data after decimal till 4 places. Yes, so this is nothing but a placeholder for a floating point number. I can change this particular value, that how many data it should showcase, how many integer it should showcase after a dot or after a decimal, how many data it is supposed to showcase. I can just control it from here. But yes, f is basically placeholder for floating point number, s is for string, d is for integer. Just remember, keep it in a mind, practice it, and you will be able to remember it. Now, let's try to understand couple of more different kind of a example. So here, let's suppose name is equals to SUDH, okay, and then age is equals to, let's suppose, 30. These are the two variable which I have created. Now, I have to create a final text. So where I have to write Sudhanshu is SUDH, Sudhanshu is 30-year old. This is something which I'm supposed to write, but in a different way. I don't want to write this particular statement. What I want is it should take this SUDH value from this variable, and it should take this particular value, again age value, from this particular variable. This is what I want. I don't want to hard code each and everything. I just want to make it a real time. I can even convert it with the input, so that user can input it, and based on that it should form a particular sentence. I just want in that particular way. So how I can do it? So here we have a string, as we can see. So the best part will be replace it with a placeholder s, percentile of s, and here this is the integer. So replace it with the placeholder percentile of d. Okay, percentile of d. Now, this is the placeholder. This is the placeholder from where it will be able to get the value. Yes, from where it will be able to get the value. So just a old way, percentile, and then we can try to write maybe open bracket, close bracket, and here I can write name, and here I can write age. Execute. Now if I'm going to print a text, Sudhanshu is 30-year-old. So here it is able to take this value from here, and it is able to take this value from here, right? So it is able to fetch a data from a different variable in a real time. Now, let's suppose I would like to make it more dynamic. I would like to give these things through an input. I can ask user that enter your name. Enter your name. I can try to ask a user. Then over here, I can again write an input over here, and then I can ask a user that enter your, inside a string obviously, enter your age. Okay, and obviously it's an integer. So what I can do is I can try to convert it into an integer. Okay, fine. Execute. Enter your name. I'll enter my name over here. Then again it is asking me enter your age. So I'll try to enter my age. Now let's try to print this particular text. Sudhanshu is 30-year-old. So dynamically it is able to take a data from this one and from this one. This two inputs it is able to consider in a runtime. Yes. So we are able to perform all of these operations in an easiest possible way. This is something called as string formatting. We are trying to format a string in a real time. Yes. Okay. Now, I'll try to show you a couple of more different way. Let's try to understand. So here we are trying to write a placeholder, a specific placeholder for a string, a specific placeholder for an integer. So likewise, I can try to give as many placeholder as possible, 2, 3, 10, 200, doesn't matter at all. In a real time, in a runtime, it will be able to take a data from a variable that you have defined or from the input that you are going to give. Now, let me show you some different example. So here again what I will do is, so maybe I'll try to take a name. Name is equals to SUDH, and I'll try to take age. So age is equals to, let's suppose, a 30-year over here. Now I have to form a text. Now same operation, I'll try to do it in a different way. Exact same operation, the previous operation. So just remember this one. Same exact operation I'll try to perform in a bit different way. So here what I can do is, instead of writing a percentile of s, percentile of d, because sometimes it's very difficult for me to remember as a new programmer that what is a placeholder for a string, what is a placeholder for an integer. Yes, obviously going forward you all will be able to remember, but as of now it's a bit difficult for me. So what I can do is I can just try to write open and close curly braces. Sudhanshu is, again curly braces, year old, right? So I have replaced this placeholder, as you can see, percentile of s and percentile of d, with just a curly braces, over here, and it is going to work, believe me. But you have to change this style as well. So here you have to write dot format. So this is a function, this is the inbuilt function which is already available inside a string, which helps me out to understand that where I have given a placeholder in a form of curly braces. Yes, so here we have curly braces. Now I'll write format, and format is a function, and what you are supposed to replace with first curly braces and what you would like to replace with the second curly braces. So in a sequence, I can try to write it over here. So I can write name over here, I can try to write age over here. Now execute and then try to print basically text. As you can see, it is working. SUDH is 30-year-old. So SUDH as a name it is trying to take. So name in a first place it is trying to take, age in a second place it is trying to take. If I'm going to interchange, this one, let's suppose if I'm writing age in a first place and name in a second place, NAME, name in a second place. Now if I'll try to print text over here, see, it has interchanged. Simple. Yes, it has interchanged. So it depends upon a sequence that we are going to give so far. So whatever example that we have discussed, so it depends upon the sequence. In whatever sequence we are going to give a data, in that particular sequence, it is going to consider this particular information. Very simple. Now, let's suppose I don't want to be these things to be available in a sequence. I want these things to be available in any sequence, in any way. How I will be able to achieve it? Let's try to understand that particular part. So here, what I can do is I can try to write maybe a name. Name is equals to what? Name is equals to SUDH. I can try to write maybe age. Age is equals to maybe a 30 over here. I can write height over here, and height is equals to something like a 345.56, and then I can try to write a text over here saying that Sudhanshu SUDH is 30-year-old and height is 345.56. Okay, so this is a string which I have to form. This is the string which I have to form, where I have to replace this name, I have to replace this particular age, I have to replace this particular height, I have to replace all of these three things. How I will be able to do it? And I don't want to manage or maintain the sequence. I don't want it, right? I could write things in a sequence that I want, but yes, it should print my entire data in a format which I want. So how I will be able to achieve that particular part? So here, again, I can try to replace it with the placeholder, simple, curly braces, and I can write name over here. I can try to give curly braces over here. I can replace it with the age, and here I can again replace it with the HEIGST height. Then I can call format over here. Now inside a format, I can try to give a named argument and name argument value. So name is equals to name, and then height is equals to height, and then age is equals to age. See, age is available in a second place, but I'm keeping it in a third place. Height is available in a third place. I'm keeping it in a second place. Now execute and let's try to see whether it is able to fetch a data for me or not. So yes, it is able to fetch a data. So Sudhanshu is 30-year-old and height is 345.56. Because of what? Because here, whatever placeholder I'm trying to give, I'm giving it with the name, and name to name mapping, age to age mapping, height to height mapping, it will be able to perform automatically. So here, I'm not supposed to worry about the sequence, right? I'm not supposed to worry about the sequence. So it can work even in this particular way, and it can work even in this particular way. Depends upon us how we would like to write a program, in what particular format I would like to write the program. Now I can even take all of these data as a user input. I believe we all know about it, right? We all understand this particular part. Now let's try to understand another part. So here, let's suppose I have height, right? And height is equals to 345.56565656, something like that. We have a data, right? And then I have to print a text. My height is, right? My height is, and then format, and then I can try to write height. Fine. Okay. Execute, and then try to print text. Try to print text. Now it is printing the complete height. It is printing the complete height, but I don't want it. What I want is, I want a decimal till second place, till third place, maybe till fourth place, maybe till first place. I don't want this entire decimal. There are so many like a data which is available after a decimal. I don't want it. I just want maybe till second place. What I can do, how I can do it? Again, very simple. Here, what you can write over here is that try to write 0.2, as we have already discussed. F is nothing but it's a placeholder. F is nothing but it's a placeholder. So I have written this statement. Now let's try to execute. And as you can see, I have written 0.2f and it is able to convert. So colon 0.2f, and it will try to restrict my data only till that particular point. Simple. It's done. Yes. So even in this way, I will be able to perform all the operations. Now here, I'll try to show you a formatting in bit different way. Let's try to understand another example of formatting. So here again I have a name, and name is equals to SUDH. Now again I have a text, and here my name is SUDH. I can write it. That's completely fine, right? Maybe I can try to write a placeholder, and then I can try to write format, and then here I can write a name. Again, this is going to work, that we have already discussed. So there is nothing new for us. So again, in this way it is going to work. Maybe I don't want to use this function. I don't want to use this format function. I don't want to use even percentile s as a placeholder. What I can do? I can simply write f over here in the beginning. F over here in the beginning, I can simply write it down, and then here inside this curly braces I can write name, and your result is going to be same. So even in this way I can try to perform a string formatting. So this is the third way, third procedure I'm trying to showcase by which you all will be able to achieve a string formatting. So isn't it amazing, right? So we are able to perform a string formatting not just in one way. We are able to perform a string formatting in a multiple ways. Now, let's suppose I have A is equals to 10, and let's suppose I have B is equals to 20. Okay. Now here, output is one of the variable I'm going to create, right? So here I would like to write maybe sum of A and B is. So I have to print a summation of A and B. How I will be able to print it? So maybe I can try to write over here A plus B, and in the beginning what I can do, I can write F, so that it will be able to take this data from this variable. So again, F means string formatting I'm trying to perform. So do it, and let's suppose if I'm going to print output, output, as you can see, 10 plus 20, what is the value? 10 plus 20, what is the value? It's a 30. And I'm able to print it. So I'm able to perform even a kind of a mathematical operation inside it. It's possible. It's pretty much possible for all of us. So hope all of you are able to understand this string formatting, guys. Hope all of you are able to grasp this entire concept which I have discussed in this particular lecture. With that, thank you so much everyone. Keep practicing, keep trying.